Struggling solopreneur? These 5 things will completely transform your business. Look, I feel your frustration. You're pouring your heart and soul into what you do every day. You're showing up with passion, enthusiasm, and a real desire to make a difference. But behind closed doors, it's just a completely different story. You're not attracting enough of the right clients. You're not making the kind of income that your talent, your knowledge, and your commitment truly deserves. You expect it to be further ahead by now. If you can relate to any of this, then this video is for you. I'm going to show you the 5 things that every solopreneur needs to focus on to stop just surviving and to really start thriving again. And it's not theory, and it's not hype, and it's not some trending nonsense from some wannabe guru. These are sound, practical, and smart strategies that will transform any solopreneur's business. Your next breakthrough won't come from grinding harder. It's going to come from working smarter and implementing the strategies that I'm sharing with you in this video. And right at the end, I have a fantastic resource for you. And I'm giving it away for free. Well, for now anyway. It's a mini course helping solopreneurs to stop surviving and to start thriving. It's a deeper dive into the strategies that I'll be touching on in this video. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Pete Rea. I'm an author, coach, business owner. In fact, I became a self-made millionaire at just 21. That was pretty special, but I lost it all at 35, and that was a bit of a bummer. And a few years later, I reinvented myself. In the last 6 years, my business has generated around 9 million in revenue. So what I'm sharing with you today is real world experience. Okay, that's enough about me. Let's dive into the rest of the video. Your focus point number 1 is to get very clear on who you help. What problem do they have, and how do you help them resolve it? Stop trying to be everything to everyone. If I asked you right now, who do you help? And I mean specifically, what's the number 1 problem that they have? And how exactly do you help them solve this? Could you answer clearly? Could you explain it in one simple sentence without stumbling, rambling, or just kind of waffling on? Because if you can't explain it clearly, your promotion and marketing will not work and your business will not grow. Now, most solopreneurs are just far too broad and too vague. They just don't want to narrow things down because they're worried that they're going to be missing out, that they're going to be leaving money on the table. They think, but I can't help lots of people. But that doesn't mean that your message should even try to speak to everyone. Because when you try to speak to everyone, you usually connect emotionally with no one. Your message becomes too vague, too general, too forgettable. And in a noisy competitive marketplace, it just doesn't work. People need to hear your message and think, that's me. That's exactly what I'm struggling with. That person understands where I'm at. And that's what creates the connection. So before you think about anything else, this needs dialed in. Let me give you some quick examples. So don't just say, I help people to grow their business. That's too broad, too vague, right? Instead, you might say, I help self-employed therapists attract more consistent clients without feeling salesy. That's much clearer. Or in my case, I help solopreneurs who feel stuck, stretched, or unsure what to focus on next to regain clarity, rebuild confidence, start moving forward again with smarter, effective strategies. Can you see the difference? Clarity creates connection. Connection creates better conversations, and better conversations creates more opportunity and ultimately more conversions. So your focus point number 1 is simple. Get crystal clear on who you help, what the problem is, and how you help them to resolve it. Because clarity comes before strategy. Let me know in the comments if you are fully dialed in, or maybe it needs some refining. Focus point number 2, create a client journey ladder. This is a huge oversight where solopreneurs are massively missing out because they only have the one offer. So people either buy from you or they don't, and that's it. So there's no like warm-up process. There's no natural pathway for someone to experience more of your value before making a bigger decision. And this is just making business just so much more difficult for you than it needs to be. Because here's the reality. Most people are just not ready to buy the first time that they actually come across you. So they're going to need to get to know you more. They're going to need to understand your value and build some trust. And they need to feel that you actually understand their problem. So instead of just expecting someone to go from being a total stranger to actually being a paying client in just one step, think about the journey you could be creating for them, okay? So if you think of a ladder and, of course, the different rungs, then the first rung on that ladder could be a very simple step, which is where they can consume your free, dialed-in content, which we talked about earlier, right? So a helpful video, a checklist, some kind of guide, a short online session. If you're an author, maybe it could be a free chapter of your book, like I promote, okay? Or some other aligned resource. Something that gives them value. Something that helps them to get a feel for who you are and why you care. Because, there's so much competition out there and everybody is vying for the same customers. And in all honesty, why should they connect with you? Why should they buy from you? I mean, what is it that makes you so special? It's a fair question, right? That we all need to take ownership of. So your dialed in free content is a great way to show them why. The truth is this, look, we're entitled to nothing. We have to earn it. This is why I call my free content my community service. I mean, does this make sense? Because if success were that easy, everyone would be living their best life. And clearly they're not. Now, the second rung on the client journey ladder is maybe a low ticket item. It could be a recorded workshop. It could be a book, a low cost resource, something that allows them just to go that little bit deeper without feeling like it's a huge financial commitment. Now, it might only be a small amount monetarily, but it's a big step in terms of the relationship. Then as trust continues to build, the next rung on the ladder could be your core offer, which of course is your main product or your main service. And it becomes a very natural step for customers to take because they're not coming to you completely cold. They've already had value. They've already connected with you and your message. And this is really important because if your only strategy is to constantly find new people and try to convert them immediately, it just gets exhausting and it's completely unsustainable. So provide your customers with a natural pathway to follow. Give them a way to move closer to you step by step. So number one is the free value. Number two is a simple low ticket item. Number three is your core offer. And eventually, maybe something more premium like a digital course. And this is something that you can work towards in the future. Don't go switching off and thinking that this is not relevant for you right now. It's too far off. It's not something to put in place overnight. It's something over time. But you can definitely start to go to work on the first two. And the main point here is this. If you want to build an effective and sustainable business, you need to put this in place. Otherwise, you'll always be hustling and chasing the next sale. So by putting this in place, you're no longer just hoping people are going to buy. You have an effective system and an ongoing pipeline. And this is working smarter and not hard. Focus point number 3, get in front of other people's audiences. This is so smart and I do it all the time. It's such a great way to be able to extend your reach, increase your visibility to others. You can be absolutely brilliant at what you do, but for the most part, you're just invisible. You're like a world's best kept secret. And the reality is not enough of the right people even know that you exist. And this is one of the primary reasons why solopreneurs continue to struggle. You might have the most incredible product or the most amazing service, but But if you're only ever speaking to the same audience over and over and over again, and they're not even that receptive to what you have to share, then you're essentially just kind of fishing in the same old pond. Look, you don't have a sales problem. You have an awareness problem, an attention issue. Not enough of the right people are even seeing you. Not enough of the right people are hearing your message. Not enough of the right people are being given the chance to connect with what it is that you do and what you help with. Now, look, if you can relate to what I'm saying here, just let me know in the comments, right? But what you really need to ask yourself is, who already has access to the kind of people you'd love to reach? This could be a podcast host looking for guest speakers. I see requests for this daily in some of the different groups that I'm part of, right? And this is a particular favorite of mine. It could be a networking group. It could be an active Facebook group or LinkedIn community. It could be a local business owner, a coach, a business owner with a strong database, or someone who runs online or offline workshops. It could be collaborating with another solopreneur that serves a very similar audience to you. It could be you speaking at an industry event. The list goes on, right? The thing is, people are always looking for ways to add more value to their existing audiences. And audience borrowing is one of the smartest ways to grow your business, instead of trying to build attention from scratch all of the time, which is rather frustrating and very slow. So you're stepping in front of other people's audiences that exist. And it's not about you going on there and pitching, it's about you offering insight, going in there with a serving heart. You share practical ideas that's going to help the audience solve a problem or help them to get inspired in some way. So when you do this well, everybody wins. The host gets useful and valuable content for the audience, and you get that increased visibility and that extension of your reach. And of course, you get more conversations. And the best bit is that their audience can become your audience, and you're massively compressing the time scale. The audience size doesn't matter. It's just about the alignment. So you don't need to get in front of thousands of people. You just need to get in front of the right people. So the message here is, stop trying to grow by shouting louder from your own little corner. Start looking for aligned audiences that you can serve and get yourself into different rooms. Focus point number 4, monthly value sessions. Now, it always surprises me just how little contact so many solopreneurs have with customers after their first sale or the first session or the first treatment or the first workshop or even the first conversation. This again is missed opportunity. Business is not just about constantly chasing new people. It's also about looking after the people who already know you. You know, your existing clients, your past clients, your subscribers, your contacts, your community, the people who've already shown some level of interest. These people matter. But if you disappear for weeks or months at a time, people move on. Think about this. If you secure 2 new customers and 3 slip away, you're always playing catch up. Retention is king. People forget. People live busy lives. Other people grab their attention. So you need a simple way to stay visible, to stay useful, and to keep creating fresh conversations. And one of the best ways to do this is through providing regular value. Start doing monthly online educational sessions, just 45 minutes or an hour. Maybe do it on Zoom or Teams, something that gives people a reason to reconnect and lean in. This is not about selling harder, it's about serving better. For example, if you're in the health and wellness space, you might run a session on sleep or stress or gut health or healthy aging. If you're a coach, you might run a session on increasing confidence, gaining clarity, dealing with overwhelm, or how to stay motivated. Of course, the topic will entirely depend on your business, but the principle is the same. So choose something that your audience already cares about. So teach them something useful, something beneficial. Create a natural reason to reconnect and then follow up with care. This builds trust, it keeps you visible, it supports retention, and it creates new conversations, which of course can lead to new conversions. So focus point number 4 is this. Don't just chase strangers, stay connected with the people already in your world. And here's the thing, you don't have to just invite existing customers to these sessions. You can use these regular sessions to keep filling up your pipeline. You'll be amazed at just how much business growth is currently hiding right under your nose. Last and by no means least, focus point number 5, strategic partnerships, which is building through smarter, aligned opportunities. And this is where so many solopreneurs really need to start and think differently. Because if your income is completely dependent on your physical time and effort, there's always a limit on what you can do and earn and for how long. There's only so many hours in the day, so many sessions that you can deliver or appointments that you can fit into your diary. And if you're already tired or stretched or close to burnout, simply doing more is not the answer. At some point, you have to ask yourself, how can I add more value without everything depending on me physically doing more? In a strategic partnership with a company or a service or a product range that aligns with your values and supports your audience is a great way to be able to do this. And that's exactly what I've done myself. It's proven to be one of the best business decisions that I've ever made. And it wasn't a random or a forced partnership. It was fully in alignment. So it has to make sense for you and it has to make sense for your audience and it must genuinely add value. Because when it's aligned, it doesn't feel like it's just been like bolted on. It feels like a natural extension of what you already do and who you are. For example, if you already help people with health and well-being, there will be additional products, resources, or partnerships that allow you to support your existing clients beyond your primary offering. If you're a coach, there may be programs or resources that genuinely help your clients. If you're a consultant, there will be systems or services that will complement your expertise. The point is not to chase random income streams. The point is to ask, what else would genuinely help the people you already serve? What are they already spending their money on elsewhere? Or what problems do they have that you're currently not supporting? Could you add value in a way that also creates a smarter income stream for you and your business? These questions open up opportunity. Because the partnership I entered into, my customers receive direct delivery, I earn commissions every time they make a purchase, so I'm not even involved in any of the logistics. This is how you start moving from survival thinking into strategic thinking, because now you're earning a passive income which is independent of your own physical efforts. So you're working smart. You see, the goal is not just to be busier. The goal is to build something much more sustainable, something that supports your clients better and something that supports your life. Don't forget about you, because your business should not consume your life indefinitely. It should support the life you actually want to live. Look, I've only touched briefly on the strategies in this video because of time limitations, but if what I've shared makes sense to you and you'd like me to walk you through this in more detail, as I mentioned right at the start of the video, I have an amazing resource to help you with this. For now, it's free. It's an online session called Holistic Business Edge. And inside, I go deeper into these strategies with more examples, more context, more practical ways to start applying them to your own business. And it's completely self-paced. It's broken down into short, easy to watch lessons, and you can access the link in the description. But for now, I'm curious to know what has resonated with you the most from this video. pop it in the comments below. I will reply personally to every single comment. Thanks for stopping by. Look forward to seeing you on the next video. I have plenty more coming down the line, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.